You know, when you hear someone say, God is dead, you might think it's a victory cry, right? A celebration? But what if it wasn't? What if it was actually a terrifying warning? Today, we're diving into exactly that, a radical reinterpretation of a famous philosophical crisis, one that asks what we're supposed to do in the silence that follows.
And this is the line that started it all, from Friedrich Nietzsche. Just think about the weight of those words. It's not triumphant, it's an accusation. He's saying that humanity itself, you and I, we're the ones who took apart the very foundation of our own reality. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? That's the question that hangs in the air. Once the old truths are gone, what's left? What do we build in their place? We're staring into this massive void, and as we'll see, there are two very, very different ways we can choose to fill it.
Okay, so to really get this choice, we've got to go back to the source, Nietzsche's original parable of the Madman. And let's be clear, this was never a high five for atheism. No, it was a horror story, a prophecy about what happens to a culture when it loses its North Star, its ultimate source of meaning and value.
So in the parable, you've got this central clash. On one side, there's the madman. He's not literally crazy, he's just way ahead of his time. He's the only one who sees the absolute catastrophe that's coming. And on the other side, you've got the crowd. They're smug, they've stopped believing, but they are completely clueless about what that actually means for them. Their laughter isn't wisdom, it's the sound of ignorance.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. When Nietzsche talks about the death of God, he's speaking in metaphor. He means the moment that the whole idea of a divinely ordered universe, with its clear rights and wrongs, its objective truths, just stops being believable. It's like the foundation of a building just crumbles away, leaving everything that was built on top of it about to collapse.
All right, so that's the diagnosis from Nietzsche, a world totally adrift, lost in space. Now, this is where our source material gets really interesting, because it introduces a new figure, the Nazarene, who takes this problem and lays out two clear, starkly different paths forward.
And here they are, the two opposing forces in this new world. First, you have the tarantulas. On the surface, they preach equality for all. But underneath, it's all driven by a secret envy, a resentment. Their real goal isn't to lift everyone up, it's to tear down anyone who's great. It's revenge disguised as justice. Then you have the opposite, the Übermensch. This is the ideal of a person who doesn't look for meaning, but creates their own, finding purpose in the glorious struggle to overcome and become something more.
This table just lays out the tarantula's game perfectly. Look at the two sides. On the left is the mask, what they say out loud. Justice, equality. But look at the right. That's the reality. Justice is really just a code word for getting revenge on the strong. And equality, that's just a desire to make sure nobody ever rises above them. It's pure poison, but it's served up looking like medicine.
So what's the alternative? Well, the Nazarene comes in with this direct, almost shocking counter-argument. He basically says that inequality isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the engine that drives us. Without that tension, that glorious struggle to climb, to achieve something more, to overcome, well, humanity would just grind to a halt.
And this is what it's all building towards, the ideal of the Übermensch. This is the person who says, okay, there's no pre-made instruction manual for meaning anymore, so I'm going to write my own. This path isn't about seeking comfort, it's about embracing the struggle, because that's where purpose is found. This is the ultimate antidote to that leveling poison the tarantulas are peddling.
Okay, so with that whole framework in mind, our story returns to that chaotic marketplace. The Nazarene walks right into the middle of it. But he isn't there looking for God. He knows that grave is empty. No, he's looking for something much more immediate, right there in the people themselves.
And here is the huge shift. He's not asking where is God. He's asking a much more terrifying question. He's looking at all their buying and selling, their gossip, their busy lives, and he's asking, okay, God is gone. So what's the point of any of this now? Where's the meaning?
And of course, just like in Nietzsche's story, the crowd laughs at him. Only this time, they haven't just given up on God, they've replaced him with a new one, the market. They are so consumed by the endless cycle of commerce that they're too busy, too distracted to even notice the massive, empty void they're living in.
And this merchant's response just says it all, doesn't it? In this new world, the ultimate measure of all things isn't truth, it's not virtue, it's not God, it's profit.
They've swapped a transcendent meaning for a transactional one, and they think the Nazarene is an absolute fool for asking his question. But that laughter is about to die in their throats. Because this is the moment the Nazarene steps into their midst, and his presence alone just cuts through all the noise. And then he begins to speak, laying out the real, horrifying consequences of what they've done.
And there it is, the core accusation. He tells them, when you killed God, you didn't just get rid of an old belief. You destroyed the yardstick, the ultimate cosmic ruler that measured everything. Now your prophets, your laws, your entire lives, they have no ultimate foundation at all.
To make them feel it, he uses that same powerful metaphor, unchaining the earth from its sun. It means we've lost our cosmic center of gravity. He says you've wiped away the entire horizon. There's no moral up or down anymore. We're just a flock that killed its own shepherd, and now we're wandering, totally lost, through an infinite nothing, with only our tiny little candles to light the way.
But he doesn't just leave them there, drowning in despair. No, he flips the whole thing on its head and issues this profound, absolutely terrifying challenge. He says, if humanity was strong enough to commit this act, then humanity has a duty to become worthy of it.
I mean, just let that sink in. This is the ultimate challenge. Killing God is the greatest deed ever done. So, the only possible response worthy of that act is for humanity itself to take on the responsibility of creation, to become the new source of value and meaning for the entire universe.
So he lays out the path forward, this path of terrible freedom. First, you have to acknowledge the void, admit the old rules are gone for good. Second, you have to actively reject the tarantula's poison, that easy, tempting path of resentment. Third, you have to embrace the struggle, the hard work of creating your own values. And finally, you have to strive to become that Übermensch, to become worthy of the terrible freedom you now have.
So in the end, that's the choice the Nazarene leaves hanging in the air. In a world unchained from its sun, we're left with this incredible, terrible freedom. And the question he's really asking is for us, right now. What are we going to do with it? Do we use it to build, to create, to strive for something greater? Or do we listen to that tarantula's whisper and use our freedom to poison, to resent, and to tear it all down?